thank you guys. I know this might be a little bit uncomfortable because you've never done anything like this, except for your news interview the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Uncomfortable.
She's done news now and YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Oh yeah, Christine cleaned out my house. It was nice.
You're pretty much famous.
Pretty much. I mean, how many thousands of views do you have now?
I have no idea. Haven't looked. I just looked at all the mean comments.
Are you serious?
People are not nice on YouTube.
No. That's
some were really nice, and some were like, "Wow, she has a lot of clutter. She has a lot of junk." Yeah, that's why Christine's helping me.
Yeah, people are relentless.
Yeah.
And they probably live in a little cluttered apartment somewhere. And they just...
I'm like, dude, I have 5 kids. I work. I'm a clean person. But yes, sometimes papers pile up on top of a cabinet. Get over it.
Yeah. Some people, though, live in those comments.
Yeah.
And they'll take them to heart. Like, there have been people that have killed themselves over comments.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I feel
terrible.
like if you
That's so
want to
sad.
make it big on YouTube, you have to just brush yourself off and just go...
Yeah, I don't think you can read them.
No. Well, but then you also get in trouble for not responding. People, there's some importance in...
I'll hire someone to respond.
Yeah.
That's actually a good idea.
People do. Yep.
Like Joe Rogan said in the beginning, he would look at comments and content.
People
not
are not
anymore.
nice.
You just it hurts your self-esteem too.
Well, and that's how you can stay real too. I mean, I imagine if you're constantly looking at, you're going to constantly try to change yourself and whatever, but just stay the authentic you. I think you to stay the course. You gotta, have a barrier between you and those comments.
Yeah.
Well, and that's even what we're trying to teach our kids, even with social media, because we don't let our kids have social media, and it's because of that. I'm like, even as adults, sometimes social media hurts or comments hurt. I don't need you kids getting hurt by social media.
Yeah, what a weird world.
Yes.
I don't even know how to navigate it with kids because we never went through it. I remember dial-up internet.
Right.
I remember looking through. Yeah.
We just told our kids 18. Hey, 18, it's your choice at that point. We're not gonna tell you what to do when you're 18 as far as social media.
One, obviously, they're still exposed to it a little bit along the way, whether that be through your account or through my account or whatever. But they're still exposed to it in a lot of different ways. So it's not like they're going to be like shocked by Instagram or YouTube or Facebook because they still get some exposure, which I think is important to kind of like gradually do it rather than just be like, hey, the world is my footstool now, and I'm open to all of it. So.
Yeah. Well, our almost 15-year-old, we were like, what do you want social media for? Why do you want that? Well, I want to like showcase gymnastics on there. Yeah, no, we're not letting you do that. We're not letting you run around in a leotard on social media and, not being able to navigate who follows you and, just have another follower. This is great. Yeah.
Yeah, the last thing I want to be doing is going through who's, finding out who's following her and trying to do that. I don't have time. Moderating that. I don't want to do that every day.
We just figure you don't need it. It's fine.
Just let her do it.
There'll be a time and day for that.
In snow clothes.
Oh my God.
You can do all your routines as long as
snow
you're
clothes
in full
or
snow clothes.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with that.
Sumo suits, yeah. And in fact, that account would probably grow bigger than the others. So.
Yeah, but again, I don't want my kids as, I don't want their self-worth based on how many likes or how many comments they're getting, regardless of whatever they're posting. I don't want it based on that. So we're just not going that route right now.
I think that's smart. So nothing with social media has been consistent in its run, since it evolved. Or maybe the consistency has been the inconsistency. But just trying to translate this into you guys. For 14 years, I've known you. And you've been very consistent over 14 years. Like, that's something that I really appreciate about you guys, is that you're pretty much the same now as you were, but, like, upgraded even better versions.
Yeah. Well, and you know what to expect from us. I feel like Jess and I are pretty transparent, especially with you and Kira, that it's like, you know us pretty well. You know what to expect from us.
Yeah, which is a very important relationship to have.
Yeah.
I mean, not that you want to have that relationship with everybody, but I do think it's important to have that relationship with somebody. Mm-hmm. It's been really good. You guys have helped us out so much in so many ways.
Yeah, ditto.
Yeah, totally. Likewise. It's been awesome.
It has been awesome. Okay, well, that's the podcast. No, we'll just dive right in. What is the meaning of life?
That's a good question for Justin.
Oh, man. I mean, become the best self we can become. I mean, you caught a little bit of that conversation earlier today as I was coaching gymnastics as we finished up, and here I got all these young men, and just trying to teach them every day about how to become their best self. And I use athletics and sports to help do that. And, becoming your best self means temporary failures. It means wins. It means exploring new things. It means just an infinite amount of things. So, challenging yourself. And, but yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to do every day, is just become my best self and help others along the way. And part of helping others is becoming my best self. So.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with a family member the other day. She was frustrated at another family member or two, and she was just frustrated. And I just brought up the point that I said, hey, with family, you're stuck with family forever, right? And the beauty of life is that you're never stuck in one place. Life's not over till it's over. So you always have room to make improvements. And, she just was like, I just don't feel like this person's ever going to change. They've always driven me nuts. They will always drive me nuts. And I just made the point. I just said, even when you're 70, you still have time to change. It's not over. And just be patient and be loving. And I just think with life, the key to success is be willing to grow, be willing to change, be willing to learn. And yeah, don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid to be better. Jess and I talk about that a lot, of just kind of like, what are ways that we can be better? Are we being our best selves? Are we trying to change? Are we doing good in that department? We kind of check ourselves sometimes of going like, are we willing to be better and change?
Well, it's funny. I wrote in my journal for the first time since the start of COVID. Nice. I looked back at the previous post. I was like, that's March 31st, 2020. Oh, I'm doing great.
Did it begin with what the world is now in?
Yeah, pretty much. That's about what it is. Like, I might have to have a new career, and like what is going to be the new normal and all. Anyways, but it was nice to write, like, my next sentence was, the world's still going and everything's kind of back to normal. But I was reflecting over the last decade of my life and just thinking, and I asked Court the question. I said, is it enough? Am I doing enough? And
it was midnight, so I'm like, yeah, you're fine. Good night.
Yeah. It wasn't a very engaging conversation, but I just think about that a lot. And again, talk about the meaning of life and becoming our best self is constantly evaluating, am I doing enough, or am I doing too much in some ways? Am I finding balance? And just constantly reflecting. And one of the things I appreciate about our relationship with you and Kira is you guys are constantly putting yourselves out there. You're constantly challenging yourselves in different ways and stretching yourselves, taking calculated risks, and just like, there's no way you're going to look back at your life at 40 and be like, well, I didn't try anything. I've just been living in a box. It's going to be, hey, now I know what I love, what I don't love, what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, what I need to be better at. You're going to know all that stuff. And because of that, there's always an interesting conversation with you because you put yourself out there.
For me personally, I would say you and Kira actually really helped me a lot being okay with building a new building for our gymnastics gym. I was really dragging my feet, and both you and Kira were like, why? Do it. It's going to be so great. Like, of course you take that risk. Like, that's what you do. Why not? And that honestly, just your guys' faith in us was really a tipping point for me personally. I think Justin's pretty naturally like a risk taker and just happy just to throw it all in and just see what happens. I am not at all. And I think we balance each other out, but just even yours and Kira's support was really helpful to me for that.
Yeah, thank you.
So thanks.
Well, and it's not just, we wouldn't say that to anybody either. It has to be the right people, and you're the type of people that will run with that and make it, you'll make it great.
Yeah, it's going well.
What you said about your family, and I can say this because I have no idea who you're talking about. You said, even when they're 70, they can change.
Right.
And this one person's focused on hoping that the other person changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it might need to be the other way around.
Right.
It's interesting.
Right.
So,
totally.
Sometimes we look at relationships that we have and we're like, man, I wish that person would change. Mm-hmm. But if this is something consistent, maybe I need to change.
Right.
And so there's always that too. That's something I appreciate about all of us is we're all willing to change as long as it's a positive change. I've definitely changed in negative ways, but I haven't been proud of that. So I've tried to change it back.
Well, and loving people through it all.
Yeah.
I think is, you've made commitments to this person or they're a family member. So you're married to them you're married to them as far as forever kind of thing. So yeah, so you love that person through even the things that maybe you don't approve of, maybe the things that you don't love about them, and you love them anyway.
Sure, the highs and the lows. We're in for the ride. I've always told Courtney there's pretty much nothing you could do that would make me leave you. I mean, it's like, no. I mean, of course you're going to screw up in some way, and of course I am. What is the screw up that wouldn't, if you still loved me, what is the screw up that wouldn't be, that could be too big if I truly loved you and you truly loved me, that I couldn't forgive, as long as we were both committed to the end goal of being our best selves. And yeah.
He gave me a free pass to do whatever I wanted.
Whatever you want.
Yeah. You could do anything. You can't quit CrossFit.
That's right.
If you quit
CrossFit.
CrossFit.
He'd love me through that too.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Love is very interesting.
It is. It's a word that says too much. I actually like kind of hate the English language a little bit in that way. That we say, I love my wife the same way I love chocolate cake, or
True.
You know, I wish there was, and I don't know what the language is, but I wish there was more words to describe the different types of love. I told her I loved her when we'd known each other
7 days.
7 days. It's a little different than and there's a 7-day love, and there's a I don't know how many year love.
And I was like, you're crazy.
Pretty much. Yeah. Anyways.
You need to learn Spanish.
More words for that.
Yeah. Why? We're friends with you. You do all the Spanish speaking when we need you to. It's great.
Okay, so when you're trying to have your love talks, just call me and I'll translate.
Yeah, translate it, but like, this is the type of love we're talking about.
No, language is weird because I do love chocolate and I love Kira.
Right.
They're very different. It's interesting. This will be for both of you guys, but I think in different ways. So we'll start off with Justin. How do you feel like coaching national level gymnasts has translated into being a better father?
Oh, wow.
Or is it the opposite?
Yeah, I'll admit, I try to compartmentalize kind of my coaching and my I don't know, my role as a father.
But there's got to be some crossover, right?
Oh, definitely.
How about your expectations for your kids?
Well, one thing is that I mean what I say. I mean, that's a huge one for me. I've been today's a great example. I said, guys, the priority today is to clean up our gymnastics, to make it look good. If you mess up, if you do something and you don't land it right or whatever, but you go down having good form, you've accomplished the goal today. Yeah. Well, it took about 30 seconds and somebody did something with bad form just to make it. And I was like, guys, and so I kept reiterating this point of, please, I want you to really internalize what I say, and I want you to apply that right now. That form and presentation and how it looks is going to be the most important thing you do today. And just really getting the guys to buy into my words, that's what I really am valuing. And, you know, I think that carries over to how I'm at home as well, that when I say, hey, kids, it's bedtime, or even I love you, that my words mean something. I try really hard not to just say something just to say it, or to not really feel it, or to say it, not emphasize it. I think that's something I really, really value. So, and I find that the kids are very responsive to me if I make a point to really mean what I say.
Is that the virtuosity part of gymnastics?
It can be, absolutely. That's some, you know, the other part of virtuosity is just doing something that is kind of above and beyond, which is something that the danger, I can actually almost focus on the bad things that I do as a dad and a coach more than the good things. The danger is I become so authoritarian as a coach or as a father that the kids don't do the behavior or do the workout because it's something they want to do. They're doing it because that's what I want for them. Yeah. And I think that's a failure and something that I need to find more balance in, is like, hey, I want you to want this for yourself, and I want to be equally yoked with you as you do this, not me like dragging you behind me, kicking and screaming, but helping my kids do the right things because that's what's best for them. Helping my gymnasts perform the right way and come in and own a workout because that's what's good for them, not because, well, coach is going to go off or lay the hammer down if I don't perform a certain way. I need more tools and resources to help that side of things. And I think that there is a lot of carryover between that athletics and being a father.
Yeah. Plus, you've essentially, I mean, not parented, but kind of parented 10,000 kids over the years.
Yeah, that's kind of alarming, scary, and at the same time, that's what makes the job pretty awesome all at the same time. So seeing that kids have impact. I just yesterday I had a couple of kids who are now 25 that came in and spent a couple hours with me just talking about their lives. And one of the girls said, she's like, would you ever think we'd be where we are now? And it's like, of course I did. Of course I knew you were going to be successful, awesome, people. And anyways, that's pretty rewarding.
Well, and Justin loves like that they came and just hung out with it. Like Justin was working on the building and they just came in like, oh, Justin, we thought you might be here. We just came by to say hi. That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It means a lot to him.
And seeing these kids excel in whether it be academics, but also seeing them excel. I've seen them excel in CrossFit and other avenues, and it's fun and very rewarding, I think, for both of us that to see kids who have been a part of the gym just be successful in a lot of different areas and be like, oh, look, they're state champion in this, or, they're just, I don't know, it's fun to think that we're just a small part of that.
Yeah, well, probably a bigger part than you'll give yourself credit for. How you do anything is how you do everything, and you taught them to be great in this one area, but not just great at gymnastics, working on their mind, working on controlling their body through their mind, their attitudes, and all of that transfers to life. There's not a better thing for kids to do than gymnastics.
It's not a hard sport to sell because the results do sell themselves for sure. Yeah. And seeing these young men and young women, and I'll go to nationals and see all these high level athletes, and the percentage of them that are have a GPA of 3.7 and higher is phenomenal. These kids are training 15 hours kind of at the minimum up to 25 hours, and here they're excelling and going to Ivy League schools, and just like it's amazing the balance that they have to find and the type of dedication and just the mental and physical, and they're marrying and balancing both of those so well.
Well, in a world where people don't always want to work hard, these kids know how to work hard.
They're working hard.
They're working hard.
Yep.
And there's just a lot of value in that.
Yeah, I was talking to a dad just yesterday. I was like, he was at his son was kind of struggling to come to the gym. And I said, I get it. There's many days where I get up and I'm like, oh man, I'm not super thrilled to go out and kick the trash out of myself today, but man, I know that's what's best for me. And when I get there, it almost always feels good. He's like, yep, that's the same reason I don't get up and work out. Yeah. I was like, no, so you understand a little bit about what your son's going through. Is he's coming here and he's stretching himself each and every day. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, Luke was very sore today. Like, he didn't complain about going, but I could tell he just didn't.
It was like this. Yeah, it's hard, right? It's hard.
Well, during the Christmas break, and your schedule's a little different, and
And it is important to balance that with appropriate downtime. And we talk about overtraining in adults, and I think we do need to be extra sensitive to kids and where they're at, and it's hard for them to communicate that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and as time goes on, it might be harder and harder for kids to communicate that.
Yeah.
So you guys and your deal with social media with your kids is so good because they're going to learn to talk.
That's interesting.
We have a mutual friend, and she was talking about her, well, I can say it. Christine was on the podcast.
Yeah, we listened to
She said that her daughter, they were watching.
Oh, it was Gilmore Girls, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's funny you remember that.
Yeah, I know I listened to it.
And there was a scene where they showed some emotion, like a breakup or something like that.
She was like, where's that been?
Yeah, where is that? Well, I've never seen that in an actual human.
Right.
Just in emojis.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's so scary.
Well, it was about a relationship, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And she was like, people don't call each other and communicate like that.
Yeah.
So.
Which I fall into. I'm like, it's so much easier to text than it is to call somebody.
And texting's not bad. That is a form of communication, and it's better than nothing.
Yeah, but it's hard to show emotion.
Yeah.
It's hard to show love.
Right.
Especially when you're talking about something that's difficult.
Yeah.
Like I try to, anytime I have to have a difficult conversation or a hard conversation, I'm like, or if there's a chance that it can be misinterpreted,
Yes.
it's always like, I would love to meet in person.
Yeah.
Because it's almost back to like, I want you to know I want you to read my face. I want you to read all that nuances. And I think losing that is a bad thing for society.
For sure.
And there's so many other messages and signals of reading, like, I can tell you something hard, but you can still see that I care about you. And I think that that's a hard thing to convey.
You can't do that
in
over text.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So kind of the same question, but to you, and you don't, go out and coach the gymnastics, but you're like the boss lady of the place.
That is definitely true.
So you're also not a conventional mom, and you're not a stay-at-home mom, but you are with your kids at home. So
Right, I work a lot from home.
You work a lot from home, but you also work. You have your business. So I wouldn't say that you're a stay-at-home mom. How does that all work? How do you balance it? And how do you do great at both?
Yeah. There's a lot of mom guilt. I'll be honest. I feel guilty sometimes for working because my kids really are so important to me. And I never want them to feel otherwise. I never want them to feel like the gym is more important. So really, on a busy day or in a day when I'm stressed, I actually am very honest with my kids of anything that's going on. I'll be like, hey, I've got actually a lot going on gym-wise today, and I'm sorry I can't be in the middle of your life today.
Yeah.
I can't, I probably won't cook, and the house is a mess, and you know what, you might have to ask your older sister for help with homework today. So I try to be really open and honest of like, hey, this is what Jess and I have decided to do, and there will be hard weeks, there'll be hard days, there'll be busier days, and my kids really are so great about that. We bought the business in 2007, and our first was born in 2008. Yeah. It's all they know. So they don't know any different, and they really are so good about just going with the flow. So yeah, it's really important to me to be a good mom. It's really important to me to teach my kids. So I just try my best to find that balance. And if I look at my schedule that day and I'm like, I really don't have much going on gym-wise, then it was like yesterday. It was like, well, we just went to Idaho Falls and we went to a local business there and just did something fun.
Cool.
A day that I just didn't have much work to do. And then last night, like at 8:30, okay, I was on the laptop getting a few things done for the gym. Just trying to find the time for both. CrossFit is kind of my outlet. It's kind of my time, so I get that for myself. And then I feel better about everything else too. If I take an hour for myself a day, doing something I love, doing something I think is fun, then it's pretty easy to give of myself elsewhere when I've taken care of myself. Like, that might sound a little selfish, but
no.
Really I can do a lot better when I take care of myself first, and then make sure my kids are taken care of, make sure the gym is taken care of. And we just kind of take it a day at a time.
That just reminded me of the oxygen mask thing. Like, put yours on first before helping others. Because, like, well, you can't help somebody if you don't have oxygen yourself. So I don't think that's selfish at all. I just think that's I think it's just a requirement to be your best self.
It might sound selfish in the society.
In the vernacular or whatever.
But it's maybe the least selfish thing. You're really making it to where you can give of yourself fully. Yeah.
Well, and I communicate pretty well too with Justin. I'll be like, hey, I've got a really busy week gym-wise. I need you to step it up in the dad department. And he will, and I've gotten better about vocalizing that. It used to be, can't you see that I'm drowning? Step it up, dude.
Nope, I have no
clue. I haven't noticed.
Looks like you're a great swimmer. I don't know.
So
swimming great, hon.
I've been better about being like, hey, I really need you this week to help with housework, or I really need you to run the kids to and from activities, or hey, I actually need 3 hours to sit here on my laptop and just get stuff done. And most of the time, he's really good about that.
I again, everything's balance, and you hope you're doing it right along the way. But I don't think there's anything wrong for kids to also see that mom and dad are busy and working hard,
I agree.
And that and while Court's working hard, that there has to be a little bit more independence, and that she's not going to hold their hand through everything. And I think that's also can be a good thing, and as long as they understand why, that it's not because that they're not important or anything like that. But I think, I don't know, I see our kids is recognizing that we work for everything that we have.
Well, we point that out. We do point that out a lot too. We're having a nice meal on the table, and I'm like, listen, you know why? because Dad and I work our butts off.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't come for free. Or those new shoes you got, yeah, Dad works really hard for that, so that you can have nice things, and that we don't go hungry. And I actually point that out a lot to my kids, like kind of not that that's everything, but it is. It's nice to have what we need. That's a huge blessing in this day and age. And so I try to point that out a lot to my kids. Like, hey, we work hard so that we can enjoy a nice meal.
Yeah, I mean, we all get it, right? I mean, with Apple Pay and other things, I mean, all they think is like, well, if I tap my phone on something, then we get things.
Yep.
So it's, I don't know. It's good.
No, every hour you work translates to, keeping your family afloat. Yep. So
yeah, it's been interesting to see Lincoln work a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so good.
Oh,
I love when kids have to manage their own money. It's so good for them to see.
It's so great.
Yeah.
And he kind of learned pretty quickly, like, and he's making good money for what he's doing. He's like $9 an hour or something.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
it's hard work.
Yeah,
it's hard, freezing cold work.
He gets home and just like passes
exhausted. Oh, that's so good.
But for him, he's like, that's $9 per hour. And if I work 5 hours, and then half of that goes to savings, and we talk about the importance of tithing, and so then that he really doesn't have a lot to spend after.
Right? Exactly.
He's like, all right.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah.
He's motivated.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, we have a similar system worked out with our kids, like half to savings, 10% tithing. Hey, and then I don't care. You can do whatever you want. But man, it's quickly how the rest of that goes.
It's a finite resource.
Fast.
It's like, okay, there is going to be an end to this. And
when they work so hard for their own money, I think they look at your money, like as adults, and go like, oh, wow, that really, thank you for buying. Like yesterday I paid for ice cream for my kids, and my oldest was like, Mom, I have money, it's okay. She saw the bill, and she was like, oh, wow, that was a lot. Like, Mom, I've got mine. I'm like, no, hey, this is my treat, like, it's fine for today. But it really makes them more grateful, like, oh yeah, I see the value in you work hard and you get a paycheck. That's not free. So it's good.
I remember being it's probably a little bit embarrassing, but having a gas card as a 15-year-old and filling up with gas and being like, I can drive anywhere. And then my parents taking away that gas card and being like, all right, I don't, does anyone else want to drive? Like, I don't want to drive. This is expensive. But
yeah.
Well, you guys are doing a good job from the outside. And every time you talk with one of your kids, they're so good.
They don't make eye contact though. That's not good.
We're working on it. Taylor slowly got to where it was a complete avoidance.
She'll give you a smirk.
To a smirk. Every once in a while, it's a fist bump. So, do you see? I'm sure you do. Just see massive differences in each one of your kids. Like,
I was just thinking that the other day about our 9-year-old, almost 10-year-old. I'm like, where did this kid come from? He's so different. So yes.
What did yes. I heard a quote the other day. How do they feed from the same trough and all turn out so different? And that is, they're all definitely very much individuals, and I have no clue why.
Well, the worst is when you see like unfavorable things about some of your kids. You're like, that is so me. Dang it, that is me.
Yeah, all the bad things. I'm like, dang it, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. That's me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. But it's fun. It's fun to see them, and it's fun that they're at such they're at very moldable ages. All of ours. I mean, 5 to 15. Like they're all just learning and becoming themselves, and it's fun to talk through things with them. It's fun to try and teach them. It's fun to also let them figure things out on their own. Like, it's fun. We love, like, right now, if we could keep them the ages that they are now, we would love it. We could be happy forever. But
totally agree. I mean, as long as, I mean, they've got a few things, but no, I was just thinking about, it makes me think a lot about the eternity of the soul, that these kids turn out so different, and that we have these billions of people that have lived on the earth, and yet we're all so different. Yeah. Such individuals. It's like, gosh, there has to be something more. Yeah. Because there's only, I mean, I guess there's an infinite way to raise the kids, but it's like, how do we all end up so different with such quirks and nuance to each of us, that it's like, the eternity of the soul, there's something there.
Yeah. Yeah. There's got to be so much more that we just don't get, or don't know how to tap into,
or can't remember.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's fun.
It is. But that makes me think, oh, maybe that's not my fault. That happened beforehand.
I want to know. I want to know all the secrets.
Right.
Someday.
So take us through Madison Gymnastics. That's been 17 years.
Fall
quite.
2004 it opened.
Yeah.
It opened because, well, there was a need in the community. Is that there was a family that moved here from Seattle that had 2 girls that did competitive gymnastics. They moved here and they didn't have anything locally that they could, any gym that they could compete for. And so, well, actually, and I don't even know. I don't even think the intention was for them to continue doing competitive gymnastics, because I kind of remember kind of pitching that and being like, hey.
She was like, no.
Yeah, and I was like, but they wanted a gym for their kids to train in. There was kind of a legit gymnastics gym that had all the different apparatuses and that just had nice equipment. And that was in 2004. And then I came in not too long after that, spring of 05, and just saw this beautiful little gym with nice new equipment and was like, hey, we can do some things here. And started coaching, and then Courtney.
Justin was like one of 4 coaches.
Yeah, four or 5 coaches, and probably a couple hundred kids in the gym. What do you think? Maybe not even that.
When we bought the business, it was at 220.
Yeah, so that was a couple years later. So then while I'm coaching and we're going to school, Courtney and I get married, and then Court comes in and starts. The gymnastics world was totally foreign to her. She came from lacrosse and soccer. And and so she kind of got familiarized. She would come home and I'd kind of quiz her on like gymnastics terminology and what types of classes. Like, what does PT mean? What is boys 1, 5, 6?
She's like, it's physical therapy, and that's what you were supposed to be.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she was banking on something a little bit different for me. But what's PT, OT mean? And anyways, and so we kind of talked about those things, and she kind of gained an understanding for the classes and became a really good proficient office helper and then manager, and then
no, I was just a secretary when we bought the business. So but it was nice because I was able to I knew the programming,
knew the program, kind of knew the backside of things a little bit, and started building relationships with the parents. I mean, and our business is 99.9% of our business growth has come through word of mouth. I mean, like all of it. That was before social media, right? Anyways, 2007 comes, and they're like, hey, we can see the writing on the wall. The economy's kind of shrinking here for the industry we're in, and so we're going to head back to Seattle, and would you guys like to buy it? And we were like, yeah, let's do it. And,
and we really thought it was just going to be kind of a side gig. Maybe we'll do it for a couple years. Yes.
That was a creepy Joe Biden voice. Anyways, I did. And I was like, this, who knows where this could go.
Justin saw more of the potential. I was like, this will never make us a living, but it's kind of fun, and let's just kind of see where it goes. And here we are, still doing it.
And then what was it, 2008, we built the new building, because we knew that renting long-term was going to be the big...
Yeah, financially, we're kind of like, hey, if this ever wants to make money for us, we're going to have to own this building, because the rent was so expensive, and we were just like, we're paying ourselves, $50 a month? We got to be able to make this a little more in our own favor. So, so we went in, actually, originally when we bought the business, we bought it with Justin's parents. And then we bought it from their half out. I can't remember what year that was. Maybe just 2 or 3 years later.
Yeah, it's 2009, 2010.
And but I think we both really love what we do. I remember maybe 5 years ago, we had gone out to dinner in Applebee's, and I don't know if it was just a midlife crisis, or Justin goes, let's just envision our lives for a minute. What if we sold the business and just, maybe I'll go back to school. Maybe I'll do the whole physical therapy thing. So just side note, when we were dating, Justin's like, I want to be a physical therapist. I'm like, sweet, I'm in. Let's do it.
Let's get married.
Let's get married. Be married to a doctor. That sounds good.
Stable.
That sounds great. Yep. So anyway, but I remember sitting there fighting back tears, and I'm not really that much of a crier, especially in public. And I was just envisioning my life without the gym. And I was like, no, absolutely not. I'm so sorry, but I'm going to make you keep doing this, because, and especially just thinking of our kids, we give our kids an out all the time. I've always said to my kids, you don't have, just because we own the gym does not mean that you have to make this your life too. Like we never force you. Okay, the force would be a power tumbling class once or twice a week. That's what I would make my kids do because it's good for them. But beyond that, you know, they don't have to do the competitive cheer. They don't have to do the competitive gymnastics. We've never, but they love it. It's their life as much as it's our life. And so I just was envisioning just not having that for them and not having the community that we have. And I just was like, no, I am not ready for that. Give me another 20 years and maybe I'll be ready. But
it is a huge blessing in our life. And I think we both agree it is a huge blessing to be able to do what we do for a living and have the community involvement and the friend. I mean, you look at all the associations that we have, and they've all been. I can't even begin to list them, but they're all the most important relationships that we have in our life.
Right.
And
just so many just good people coming through those doors. I just appreciate our coaches so much. I appreciate the parents. I appreciate the kids. Just so many great relationships. It's why we love Rexburg. If we didn't have the gym, I wouldn't see a huge reason for us to stay in Rexburg.
But right now you couldn't get us out of here kicking and screaming. No. Like we do whatever we could to stay at this point.
Exactly.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I mean, you love it enough to invest in another property and building. Mm-hmm. How's that going?
It's going good.
Good.
Yeah, it's going well. I mean, this has only been, month 3, month 4. So, yeah, I mean, financially, it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but it's all motivation for us just to keep working harder and just to make it all work because we want it to work. We don't want to fail. We want to be successful, and we will do whatever we can to make sure that it works.
And I can't remember, Tyler, if it was you, but I mean, that said it. I'm pretty sure it was, but, you work hard, you treat people right, and it's hard to fail.
Yeah.
It's really hard to fail. And I think the new gym and the new facility is part of that. It's like, well, no, we will do whatever it takes and we'll do what we can to. Part of the effort, Courtney and I both looked at each other when we started building the building and said, well, look, why are we doing this? Are we doing it for money? Or are we doing it because this is what's best for our clients and our coaches? And we had to really think about that. And the honest truth is it's what's best for our clients and coach. I don't think we didn't do it. What tipped us over the edge, I guess, is doing it for them and creating an environment that was more conducive to learning, that took some of the stress away, that made it safer. There was a lot of reasons and it had to be those reasons, not financial reasons. Now, I do think the financial part will come, but that couldn't be the tipping point for us. And so, it's nice to see that the building's busy, that it's being filled, that we're finding creative ways to use the space, and there's some dark masochist part of me that wants to do it again. That wants to put myself in the building again.
He's already forgotten how rough the last year has been.
I just see the value in investing in property and providing. I mean, this little subdivision even that we're in,
we love this street, right?
Yeah, right?
Across
it's a great street.
Hey, the idea of adding another building in here and being able to offer more. I mean, as we were building it, there was lots of interest in the space and where we're at, and people in kind of like-minded industries, and I can see a real need there. And I think that the more, I mean, you guys are a great example of that. You built this big, nice, beautiful building, and filling it with people that are interested in rock climbing, working out, and again, the gymnastics community. I think that's awesome. And I would love to see, physical therapists and other things that complement our industries in this area. And I could just see some real value in that.
Yeah. And a taco trailer.
And a taco trailer, of course.
Yeah.
Goes right along with it.
Yeah. No, I will say the last 2 or 3 years as our enrollment has just grown. I remember it was summer 2020. Like, we were kind of closed for a few months for COVID. And then summer 2020, it just was like, boom. Like, where we live, southeastern Idaho, people just were very, they didn't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
like, those 6 weeks were like a fire under their butt.
Yeah. So our enrollment
we are going to
that
invest in
summer
our kids.
Was really kind of record breaking, which we needed because we had been closed for 3 months, and we looked at that, and then we went into fall 2020 and then winter 2021, and our enrollment was just growing. And it was awesome to come in and see such a full gym, but it also made me uncomfortable. I was like, people aren't getting the best quality when the gym is filled to max capacity, right? Like I want these kids to have space, and that
which is so
that was
funny
the
because
tipping
we'd
point.
worked for the last decade to try to
make
get
that
to
happen.
max capacity.
And then when we got there, we were kind of like, I don't
Oh.
love this product as much. Like, I want to offer more. Like, we just felt like I wanted to come into the gym and feel like it's full, but not overfilled.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the tipping point of like, okay, building another building is the right thing to do, even though it's scary. But it was the right thing
I
to
love
do.
the growth because that took just what you said. You tried for 10 years to fill it. And then once it's almost filled, you're like, oh,
Uh-oh.
I've got to do more.
yeah.
Right.
It's cool.
And that's a hard decision to make because you're kind of recommitting your life to it for another 20 years.
Yeah, we love to talk about how old we're going to be when this is all said and done and paid off. Right. It's a little...
Actual retirement, you're not the type.
No,
neither
I don't want to do
Kira
that.
and we're not.
I don't want to retire.
We're
Like,
not
we'll
gonna
do
really
something.
ever retire.
Well, it's so true. I say all the time, I want to retire when I'm 55. And then I think, well, what am I going to do when I retire when I'm 55? Well, I'll probably go into the gym a few hours in the week
Yeah.
and I'll end up doing exactly what I'm doing.
Yep.
But boy, I'd love to say it when I'm 55.
Yeah, maybe have an apartment.
Yeah, now with this new
complex or
building, I'm
two.
like, sorry, it's 65 now. Sorry about that. No, it'll be fine.
As
It'll
long
be
as
great.
you
We
have
don't
a
care.
couple good vacations a year, you don't ever.
That's
It's
kind of where
kinda
we're at. We're like,
true.
we
It's so
don't
true.
need to retire. We could just kind of keep doing what we're doing until we die. Why not?
Yeah,
It's not that bad. It's a pretty good life.
love my parents if they listen to this. You'll just call them and they're like, we're not really doing anything today, and but they're happy. Like they have cows
Totally.
and a garden and
Yeah.
stuff. That's just not for me. Like
Yeah.
it works for them. It's great, but I'm like, I would rather manage some apartments, not
Yeah.
like they're managing them.
Yeah.
Own them, have a manager.
Right.
Run some businesses, go on vacation.
Yeah.
Add value to the world.
Right.
And then die on a vacation. Like how cool would it be
Yeah.
to like die on a hike
Die in the Caribbean.
when you're like
That's my dream.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
yep, I want to be hiking in Costa Rica when I'm 95 and
And you
die.
keel over.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe a flash flood. Be kind of fun
Yeah.
way to go out. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, then other
We've
people
almost
might
been
die.
one of those. Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's not,
Right.
yeah. I just watched one of a volcano where a bunch of people died on a cruise excursion.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's terrible, but I mean, I guess
At the
it's
same
what
time,
it
it's
is.
lava. Like you'll die pretty fast.
There's
and
with
what a
steam.
cool story. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. Awful.
But again, if you're gonna go
Anyways.
out on vacation.
Yeah.
But I like what you said though. I mean, add value the whole time. Like once you stop adding value,
Well, and maybe the
beginning to the
older
end.
you get, maybe a little less commitment. I mean, right now, your commitment to the gym at least is 5 to 6 days a week. Absolutely. As the years go by, I'd love it to be like, hey, you need to be there 3 or 4 days a week. And, and then maybe, hey, you just go in when you want to kind of thing. And that's nice. So I can see as we get towards like the 50, 55-year-old that it will turn into more of that of, hey, we go in when we want and that kind of thing. But
They're like, oh, geez, Justin's here again.
the old cranky coach is here.
Don't let him start talking to you. You won't be able to coach your class.
right. He won't let you go. I don't know. I don't
Why are old
envision that
people
being-
like that?
I don't know,
Why
but
is
it's
it
all of
like
them.
that? Always.
It's all of them. And then the older they get, the longer you stick with them.
And you walk away and you're like, I hope I'm never like that. They're so sweet and they're so great, but I don't want to be like that. But
Yeah.
I think if you let yourself get out more and you're involved more, then you're not going to be as clingy, maybe.
I think there's some truth to that.
I don't know. My parents are not clingy, really. Like, for the most part, they're like, oh, you're coming over today. Great.
But she loves her.
Hope you're
parents.
only staying for half hour. No, my parents are great, but they're not the clingy type. I think they get enough. They're just not really social, and they're happy with that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I hope when I said that about my parents, like they are happy, they're good,
Yeah.
and like their whole life it was let's work to retire, and so they're doing exactly what they planned on
what
doing.
they wanted to do.
So it's cool. And
My parents are doing their first cruise next year, their first cruise ever. I'm so proud of them.
that's awesome.
I was almost crying, so happy for them when they told me that they had booked a cruise.
What cruise is it again? I can't remember.
Gosh,
Mediterranean. one?
Mediterranean, and they're going to end up in Rome, and then they're going to go to Switzerland. So, but my parents are just kind of homebodies, and they're so happy with that. And so this is a big deal with them.
that sounds fun. We should go crash the cruise.
I actually
We've
totally
talked
agree.
about it.
Yeah.
We haven't been invited, but
We could crash it.
But if we
There's
just
tickets
happen
for sale.
to book it on the
Yeah.
right.
Oh my gosh, how funny would that be? Head up to the Lido deck and be like, "Oh,
Mom.
funny you guys are here."
Randy's drinking.
Oh, I would die. That would throw me for a loop.
Well, so Tyler, question for you: do you feel like? I mean, you mentioned that your parents are retiring and that they're doing what they want to do. but yet we kind of sit here and we're talking about it and kind of going, we kind of have a different vision for the future. Do you think that's a generational thing, or do you think we're just seeing what they're doing and going, no, we want to do it differently because that's what kids do? You know what I'm saying? Are we just being different to be different, or
Tyler's not used to being asked the questions. He's
Yeah.
are you kidding
he's
me?
confused right now.
I'm going to shut down right now.
That's like me this whole interview.
I don't know. I've heard you'll either become the exact same as your parents or you'll become the opposite. I don't know if I quite believe that. I think that I have qualities
There's some in between.
on both directions.
Well, and don't you think who you marries also
for
makes
sure.
a difference?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah, I mean, what we've done in life, it's interesting because in the beginning, Kira never thought of herself as entrepreneurial or anything, but all she's
look at
ever
her go.
all she's ever known is entrepreneurial.
Right?
yeah,
From
that's all her
family.
parents have ever done.
Her dad never had a normal job. Her
Right.
mom never had a normal job.
Right,
He
that's
was
true.
an inventor. He had businesses, all of that. Whereas mine was the complete opposite. My dad always worked really hard and had a job that he worked hourly or salary for.
Right.
So for me to even think, oh, I can go start a business, it's pretty foreign. Like that's hard. It was weird for Kira because she always just thought, well, I'll have a husband with a job.
Right.
That's funny.
But
But that isn't where she
Yeah.
came from.
it's not where she came from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and I don't think I'm a lot like Jim, but she kind of just, married her dad in a way.
That's kind of funny. Yeah.
Which women do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds very
I did
gross,
not.
but
I did not.
so I don't know if it's generational.
Yeah.
I think mine is more just I know myself, and unless something drastic changes, I can't sit around.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want retirement to be sitting around. And I've seen too many people, even working, 10 years on the ambulance, I've seen too many people retire and die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they just stop.
I don't want to sit around waiting to die. That's miserable.
Well, and I think
I'm
may-
not going to be like that.
Maybe that's why we want to be different, is because I think our generation has seen that. We've seen people kind of sit there and just kind of slowly exit life
Stop
slowly.
coming to family events.
Yeah.
Stop being involved.
We see that and go like,
yeah.
okay, maybe
That's so sad to me.
Let's look at this a little differently. Maybe
Yeah.
there's a different way we can do this. And I don't know, it's yet to be seen.
Yeah.
But
When I was doing OPEX, the OPEX fitness training level 1 stuff, they always talked about just living to not live in a nursing home. And so I kind of adapted that to be live to be 95 and not in a nursing home.
Right.
Or I would go on ambulance calls and I would see little old people that had just fallen over. It's like, man, if they had a strength program 30 years ago, like, where would they be today?
Yeah.
And really, I think most things that we do now are based around that. Just CrossFit, rock climbing, yoga, the videos that I do online, the coaching people. It's really just longevity. Like, there's no point in living if you're just gonna. What normally happens is we're kind of fit-ish in high school. Other than that's going away, and then they get pretty fit to get married. And then it all goes downhill from there. Like, that's historically what happens to the general population.
right, usually you're looking at Facebook pictures and you're like, they look one way when they got married, and then you're looking at about a decade and a half later and you're like, all right, you look quite a bit different.
Yeah. So from 25 to 30 is like peak years. And they're never getting healthier after 30.
Yeah.
It's just getting more unhealthy. That's nuts. Because you should have another 70 years that you can thrive, or at least say have another 50 years where you can continue health, and then time is going to decline our health. But it's not how it goes. It's 30, they're 15% body fat, and by the time you're 40, you're 25% body fat, and then 35, and we know what happens.
Well, and I think as you hit your 30s, you kind of, 30s and 40s, you kind of really start to see how fast time goes. You're like, actually this life is pretty short.
Yeah.
And you only have so much time to be in great shape and to use your time wisely and to use your life wisely. And it really is kind of motivating to go, no, I don't want to live my life because there's not that much of it. I don't want to live my life uncomfortable.
Yeah. And it can end so fast.
Absolutely. Well, I look at it and go, at best, I've got 3.5 to 4 more decades left. What am I gonna do with those?
Yeah.
How old
It's
will that
kinda-
make you? That's sad.
Yeah.
75.
75, 80.
Don't die. No, you'll be 95.
Right?
aren't
Well,
you?
I mean,
hope
like,
so,
but
but you
I
don't know.
anticipate things will start fading, right?
Yeah.
Around that time, hopefully. But if I could make the next 3.5 to 4 decades pretty awesome, and and kind of set some real goals and keep some level of ambition in all the different healthy areas of life, like, yeah, just I kind of hope to do that.
Well, and that mindset's so important too. I really do believe a lot, we've talked about this before, but just how, well, if you believe it, you can achieve it kind of thing. I mean, that sounds
Yeah.
stupid, but I
Oh, no.
actually think that is
Tyler does not think that
huge.
sounds stupid. I know you're talking to the wrong guy to say that sounds stupid. That is Tyler.
but yeah, just even envisioning your life just to be healthy and strong and full of just goodness and happiness. Well, yeah, make it happen, right? That's
Yeah.
your slogan, Tyler. Make it happen.
There was a book by Parley P. Pratt, and I can't remember if it was The Key to the Science of Theology, which I think I have here.
Maybe sitting on the shelf.
Might be. Or it was another one by Parley P. Pratt, and it was way ahead of his time. He talked about how when you think something, you're actually, there's some type of molecule going on up there because you can see it. Like when you're imagining something, you see it. Or when you dream, you're dreaming it. You're seeing it in person, in mind person.
Right.
And that's the only way to start creating something. And then it comes out in physical form later.
Yeah.
Or if you think about Christ, he is the Word. Well, that's a weird thing to call somebody, the Word. But maybe words are powerful. So we speak words, we create thoughts, those thoughts become things. It's actually, like you say, it sounds weird, and it does sound weird, like thoughts become things. But all the prophets
Everything,
have taught
well,
it.
and everything you do, I guess, starts with a thought, right?
Yeah.
So I guess it has to start somewhere.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
So our thoughts are super powerful. And you guys, you're a living embodiment of that. You just maybe haven't thought of it.
You know, it's this is a half-baked thought, but I mean, I think it's kind of like miracles. It's that miracles is kind of a thought that some people don't believe in miracles, but maybe it's because those miracles almost become a self-fulfilling prophecy because we will them into being.
Yeah.
You know, is a miracle that so-and-so survived from, such and such a tragedy. Or is it that there was just a certain amount of willpower and a certain amount of like strength that come through thoughts, through words, through a will and desire to live that kind of made that miracle come to be, but does it make it any less miraculous that our words and our thoughts made it happen?
Yeah. Well, and maybe some of the miracle is recognizing the miracle.
Absolutely.
Because it's also easy to go, well, that was a coincidence.
That was just, yeah.
I watched this thing about this guy the other day that had low lung cancer. So it's like deep lung cancer. And all the doctors are like 1 month to 3 months and you're dead. And he went to see this one wacko doctor that's like, I actually think you have parasites in your lungs.
Wow.
So he started to fast, and which is funny because you think fasting and prayer, you're like, oh, well, that's the miracle of, well, it physiologically probably had a lot more, or had, I'm not
Right.
trying to defund.
Well, there's a reason why we fast, and part of
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah, it's healthy.
part of it is,
Yeah.
it's good for you.
And then he got on these like electrolytes, and he was taking like some weird stuff that like hydrogen peroxide, just
Interesting.
But in this one doctor's mind, he's like, you kill the parasites.
Yeah.
And that's the cancer. So he does it. He's been alive for like 10 years now.
Wow.
And all these other doctors are like, it's a miracle. It can only be said as a miracle. And the guy's like, well, yeah, but the miracle is that I found this other doctor that told me I wasn't going to die in 3 months.
Right.
So it's recognizing it too.
That's really interesting. It's really interesting.
Yeah, we've talked with our kids about that, just about miracles, and I'm really bad at quotes, but there was some quote that I read in the last few months that just said, more or less, expect miracles in your life. Expect them, watch for them, record them, talk about them. And it really is interesting when you sit back and you have that mindset of thinking on the daily or on the weekly of what kind of miracles have I seen in my life lately. And there really is a lot.
Yeah.
There is a lot of things that sometimes things just go perfectly well, perfectly planned, and it's amazing. And I don't know, just recognizing that and feeling the gratitude of that is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
A great example of that is two young 20-year-olds not driving a little small business into the ground with
Yeah.
no experience in
Oh
business.
man,
at
sometimes
all.
I've looked at our numbers and been like, how did we make it work those few months? Or and it just does. And yeah, I definitely, it's not just us. I know that.
I actually maybe have never verbalized this before, but I remember dropping out of college and
Oh, you dropped out of college?
dropped out of college. Yes, dropped out of college
crazy.
and thinking like, this is kind of nuts. Like me doing this is the beginning of committing to having to make this work.
Yeah.
And I remember that actually really terrifying me. And then, but it was like, no, we're going to take this little business. At the time, we were probably paying ourselves $250, maybe $500 a month.
Yeah, you were still
from,
doing quite a bit on the side.
and just like, we're going to make this work. And
Yeah.
it was a shift in mindset. That was like, this has to be it because I've committed now. And
We felt that way too when we bought our first house. We were like, uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
We have a mortgage now. We got to
like
make this
how
work.
before where we barely had apartment rent because we'd managed so much. It
Right,
was
we
like,
managed
Yeah.
apartments,
oh my
we never
goodness,
had to
how would
pay.
we ever make this work? And then what do? You put your nose to the grindstone, and blessings and miracles and prayers happen, and it works.
That's so funny. We did the same thing.
Yeah.
We rented or we
Yep.
managed until we bought a house.
Right,
Yep.
right.
So interesting. There's that story of Cortez when he gets there and he tells all of his guys to burn the boats. That's the only way they were going to win. It's a fake story, but it's a really good one. You know, so it's
not real.
Yeah, it's not real.
Interesting.
But it's what you said. Once there is no second
Option. Or
There's another option. You make it
just,
work.
you just make it work.
you just go.
I actually think that's lost.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are that second option, that third option, like, got to keep my options open. It's like, no, you got to close some doors.
Yeah.
It's interesting. This is only loosely connected to what we're talking about, but I remember talking to a young man about dating and being like, why aren't more young people getting married? And he's like, I think there's too many options. He's like, I look on Facebook and I see all these girls and I imagine kind of life going like, well, this one's good for this reason and this one's good for this reason. There's all these options.
Well, and everyone's profile pictures look better than they are.
Well, yeah, that might be part of it too. But it's kind of interesting, right? Like it was like there was this feeling of uncommittedness. What could I be missing out because I'm going to make a choice and go with it? And I think that buckling down, making a choice, and going with it is.
Well, and that's true in marriage too. It's like, hey,
Absolutely, I'm saying-
you've made the choice. Let's be committed and make this work, and let's be happy together. Rather
There's-
than
in
being
my
like,
mind,
you
there's-
can always be looking. You can always be going like, oh yeah, well, I wish I would have, Or you can be really happy with what you've chosen and make it awesome.
You make it work because it's the only option. I don't look at our marriage and go like, oh, well, there's another option. There's a way. There's a backup. Or there's a way out. It's like, no, there's not a morning I wake up and go like, well, maybe I'm not interested in resolving that problem or that concern. It's like, no, of course it's going to work
Yeah.
because there is no other option.
I actually think always having that what if would just be such a crappy way to live.
It would.
Just
Totally.
make a decision, be quick to decide and slow to change. So
Absolutely.
in 7 days, you're like, Courtney, I love you.
Quick decision.
Quick decision,
Right.
slow to change, and you've made that work over time.
And I actually think that love was a decision.
Yeah.
It's interesting, right? Like, it's not like I knew her so well. We'd known
Yeah.
each other for 7 days, but it was like, I'm making a decision. And it was that my decision is to love you. And, that's what I'm now committed to. And one good, maybe nice thing about myself was I've never wavered on that decision.
Yeah.
'Cause, well, I'm in.
You're like, this chick's hot. I love it.
Yeah. And she looks the same she did.
Oh yeah.
No, they like age. I say they because her and Kira, they like age like fine wine.
Kira got
right.
carded like in a casino last year. What?
That's not aging. Yeah. Still getting
Yeah.
carded to see if you're. Wasn't that even an 18-year-old one, too? Was that 18 or did you have
It
to be
was
21?
on a cruise ship, and they're
yeah.
like, oh, we're carding you.
No, that one wasn't that one.
No, that was in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Is Puerto Rico 21 or 18?
See, that's what I can't remember.
Yeah.
But
Either way, it was funny.
yeah, it was great.
Like, yeah, I married a 16-year-old, okay?
I was like, this is my daughter. Okay, she's good.
yeah,
It's fine.
she can come in. That's great.
Awesome. What do you guys have planned in the next year to make
I was just
everything
thinking about that
even
last
better?
night. I was like, whoa, New Year's goals. And after reading, your 5 paragraphs of New Year's goals, I was like, crap.
I've never had
Some
that
work to
many.
do.
And honestly, like after the next morning when I woke up, I was like, some of those are so unattainable, which is okay.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not saying I won't reach them, but I mean,
Right.
it's a stretch.
Yeah. Yeah, but I
But-
liked that you put it all down and that you put it out for the world to see. Like,
Yeah.
that's just, that's good. That's good motivation.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone, I'm very much a private goal setter because I don't want to fail in front of people. So
Yeah.
I love that.
Well,
That is
actually-
totally your MO.
I'm really good at failing, so
But you always talk about like, well, you have to fail to succeed, or you know, and you're right. It's just
fail
that's
forward.
that's why even like with CrossFit, I'll be like, I won't even give it my all because I'm like, I don't want to fail. Like, oh, that lift felt good. I'm not going to put on any more because I don't want to fail. I don't want to fail the lift. I could do a lot more things if I was willing to fail, but
So
it could
your
be
personality
better.
is so, it's funny to see your personality and like
No, Tyler
at
will
home
come up and be
life
like, here,
business
just
life.
put more 5 pounds on. No, I'm good. No,
Nope.
no.
It's such a funny mindset shift, though, because let's say you've just lifted 135. That's a win.
Yeah, right.
So if you lift 140, it's not a
and
fail.
you fail, but if you lift 140 and you can't get it up or whatever, and then you feel like if you kind of end it like, you don't end on
But
the
it's
best
only
note.
it's only a mindset shift.
Yeah.
Because you didn't fail at 135. You are trying at 140.
Yeah.
So-
yeah. You succeeded at 135. Now you're trying 140. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's so true. So anyway, no, I actually haven't put forth a ton of thought into next year's goals.
New Year's goals are tough
Uh-huh.
because it's like you also want to be intrinsically motivated to do what you write down. So it's hard to say, well, 2023, boom, here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because, well, maybe I don't want to start on January 1st. Maybe I want to start today. Maybe I want
Right.
to start a week after.
Yeah, I've never really loved, but I've never loved the whole mindset of like, oh, New Year's goals. No,
Yeah.
I mean, you can start tomorrow. Like, it doesn't have to be New Year's. But I feel like this past year has been really such a great year for the most part, and a lot of good things have happened and successful things have happened. And so I don't think I've had a low enough year to make me feel like, oh, I got to make a lot of changes. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty content with life. And sometimes contentment's not a great thing. Like, I agree that, you should always try to be better.
I think our kids
But-
will challenge us in enough ways that we don't have to necessarily stretch ourselves in a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of other ways. Having 5 kids in various stages of development
Yeah.
can bring its own set of challenges.
We always try, as far as like financially, we always try to like gross profit. We always try to like make higher each year just to make sure that we're doing the right thing. You
Yeah.
don't want to see that lower. So that's always a goal we have in mind of kind of like, okay, we got to make sure that things are steadily moving upward. So that's always in the back of our mind. I mean, and fitness wise, it's always in the back of my mind, or even in the front of my mind, really, that, Tyler made me go on the InBody the other day, and it was some good and some bad, but that's been on my mind. And
Mindset shift.
So-
Because it looked fine.
but it didn't look great. Fine is an appropriate word for that. But getting some things on the InBody to look better numbers and to eat a little bit healthier is always good things in my mind. Planning vacations is always something that excites me, and goals toward making that happen. And I don't know.
Maybe the first 3 months of the year, you just have a goal of sanity
Yeah.
during
Oh, my
competitions.
goodness.
Honestly, and that's part of it. A lot of times I feel
Survival.
pretty renewed and restarted like in April.
Yeah.
I'll be like,
Set
yes, I
a
have my weekends
2000
again.
Set a April 2003 goals.
Yeah.
And you have a few months to think.
Right. Because it is. We feel pretty like, between competitive gymnastics, boys gymnastics, women's gymnastics, it's every weekend.
Running the business, trying to keep
Yeah.
the family float. It feels like
Yeah.
a lot for the next three.
And just
4 months.
hosting a competition too. We
Hosting
always
a
host the one in March, and then it's just kind of like, we love it. It actually is a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that is a little bit of, sometimes January, February, March are our survival months, and that's okay. Makes us appreciate when it's not just
Yeah.
surviving,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think for me, I think about a little growth. Like my goal is just always we talk about financially with the gym, just a little bit of growth. And I think that's with myself as well. It's just little bits here and there that I'm not trying to bite off huge chunks at this point in my life, but just if I can get a little bit more fit, if I can get a little smarter, if I can get a little, a little wiser, just little bits here and there. And I realize that's really not good goal setting because that's
I
it's
actually love that.
too generic, but I just like the idea of just always stumbling forward in some regard. And if the business is doing that, and if I'm doing that in my personal life where I'm just kind of trending in the right direction, if we can just all just trend in the right direction every year for the rest of our lives, that'd
Yeah.
be great. And
When people set goals differently, that you are setting goals. It's just inside, it's internal, and it's intrinsic, and you're reaching that.
yeah,
Whereas, someone can state a goal all day long. Doesn't mean you're going to reach it.
Yeah.
right.
But if everybody could continuously be a little better,
Yeah.
Right. Get a little better every day.
I mean, I got to come up with ways of measuring that. I mean, I could probably just ask my wife and be like, "Oh, I was a little bit better this year," and maybe she'd let me know. But she'll let me know. But
right on here, I actually would like to do a whole nother separate podcast where we could tell the world what you need to work on.
That's a
I
good
think
idea.
that would be
Oh, we could,
so helpful.
We could
for
take an
you.
hour with that. We could do that.
We'll schedule that. We'll schedule that right now.
No, but goals are good. Goals are great, and just being a little bit better every day, and sometimes it takes a really bad day to go like, oh, I was a crappy person today. I need to get more sleep. I need to eat healthier and be a better person tomorrow. So that's kind of a big one for me. If I get 8 hours of sleep, I am on top of the world.
Yeah.
I'll get it done. But
That's sleep.
so there's just certain things that I know like that are helpful in my life to make good things happen.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes it's those little things that make everything better that we don't want to recognize. It's like, well, I want to stay up and watch a movie. But if I go to sleep, I'm going to be more productive. I'm going to be a better mom. I'm going to be a better dad. I'm gonna
the
be better
days
in
of
our
staying
business.
up late are
Yeah.
so beyond, like, I'm not even interested in that. I don't like the person I am the next day.
Someone's like, oh, are you going to stay up for
No.
till midnight on the 1st?
No, I'm not.
No?
Why would I do
would
that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I have
To
no
start the
desire.
new year off like that? No. Good
Zero.
night at 10:30.
Zero desire.
We can watch the ball drop in New York. It'll be fine. By the way, why do
care.
we watch a ball drop?
I don't know.
It's probably some occult symbolism.
Probably.
It's got to be. Like, it's some Illuminati crap that... I'll look it up. We'll find it.
Yeah.
But yeah, a ball dropping?
Yeah.
Let's watch a ball drop.
Right.
Happy New Year. You can go to bed now.
Yep.
Yay.
That is kind of the most anticlimactic. Like,
Yeah.
at least on the 4th of July, we're like watching fireworks and stuff like that. A ball drop.
Like the new year just hit puberty.
Oh my gosh.
Not balls
And
drop.
on that note, too much testosterone in this room. I'm out.
Well, it's all that iron you've been pumping.
Yeah. Okay. Just on top of everything that we've said, surrounding yourself with awesome people is also really helpful for building up and goals. I have definitely noticed that this year of like, you know, when someone's dragging you down or someone's building you up, and it makes such a difference.
Yeah.
Like, not only do I want to be the person that lifts people up, I also want to surround myself by people who are positive and lift me up.
Yeah.
And that's been really awesome with your guys' friendship for sure. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right back
like,
at you guys.
Like, it's great to be surrounded by people who lift you up and encourage you. There's no jealousy. It's just, hey, like, we all just want to be awesome together, you know?
Get excited for each other. Want to see everybody succeed.
Yeah. Yeah. that's
Help
really
each other
fun.
succeed.
Yeah. That's really fun. I love that.
Get a ride down to Las Vegas in the middle of the night.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
So-
whatever it takes.
whatever.
Man, it's so true, though. I mean, surrounding yourself. I mean, we wouldn't even be talking about goals right now if it wasn't for Tyler.
Well, but right back at you guys. All the ideas that we've ever done were your ideas.
I'll take credit for some of them. but-
Implementing them is huge.
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
having the gumption and the vision to be like, yeah, let's make it
Let's
happen.
make that work.
We're gonna do it, and you do it,
Yeah,
and that's awesome.
But
Yeah.
being surrounded by people that they want to see it happen.
Yeah.
No, it's just funny because, we'll talk about the Rockwell. I'm like, well, it wasn't really our idea. It was Justin's idea. And then we talk about the bus, and we're like, well, that was actually Justin's idea. So,
That's where it started. And then
Hey,
then you took it
CrossFit
and
was
ran.
all you, and that
well,
is,
other than
like
it's
our favorite thing.
the one that we purchased. So, we purchased the business.
Yeah.
We didn't start it.
Yeah.
But here's what's crazy.
But you made it into what it is,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
It's Tyler tried to convince me to come to CrossFit for like
Oh yeah.
5 to 7 years.
No, it's not for us.
Before-
It's not for us.
It took COVID. Talking about a blessing in disguise
Right. Right.
for us to join CrossFit.
Hey,
and that's
we
been,
can't open our doors. Come work out with us. Okay, fine. We'll just go hang out with our friends. Like, that sounds great.
And next thing you know, it's our 5-day week.
We love
hobby.
this.
Yeah, my only regret with that time is that I still worked at the fire department, so I didn't get more time.
You did? When did you quit? What year was that? Was it later that year?
It was later that year. Yeah.
gosh.
Because there were days that I couldn't come work out, but I
Yeah.
wanted to.
Yeah, because most days it was 7:30.
Well, and I remember working out with Trish and Kira and being like, and us just talking about whatever
Yeah.
and just kind of working
So
out and
fun.
it being, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Oh, but it was so great just to learn that kind of, for me, again, talking about not wanting to fail. Hey, I can fail in front of all my best friends. Sounds great. Like, I can do that.
Just not in
I'm not
public.
willing to fail in front of everyone else. So being able to fail a lot in the beginning was nice to do that in private.
It's also cool what you can do in 2 years, though. Like, think of yourself now
Yeah.
versus 2 years ago.
Yeah. Almost 3.
Almost 3, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been so fun.
She's getting so strong. We did a
she's
workout the
so
other day, and we got done with it, and like we were doing the same weight, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah,
back.
I have no technique though. I could do a lot more if I could figure out technique, but that's fine.
But there are literally Olympic lifters that work their entire life on that technique.
Yeah.
And it is their lift. So like
Yeah.
we were talking about that Madison lady
Yeah,
before.
right.
You know, she started when she was in her early 20s.
Yeah.
That is her life.
Right.
That's all she does all
Right.
day long.
amazing.
And she'll work into her 40s doing it.
Yeah.
And then there will probably be some transition to some other type of weightlifting. It's just
Yeah.
their life.
Well, and that's what's so fun. I feel like we just keep learning new things. We keep getting a little bit better, and it's relatable to my kids who are working so hard in
Yeah.
gymnastics. I was just talking on the way home today. I was kind of like, they were like, "We're so tired, and can we go out to lunch?" And I was like, "No." You know, hey, if you guys start competition this next week, you guys need to be getting a little more sleep. You guys need to, I mean,
little better
I
nutrition.
perform so much better when my protein's on point, my sugar is less, my sleep is good. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, you guys, these things really matter.
Let's do this as
when
a
you're an
family.
athlete.
Yeah.
And I definitely see a difference in, just even fun, having fun here and feeling like I'm, making progress here when those things are followed.
Yeah. Well, how you do anything is
How you do everything.
So you do it here and it transfers to other parts of your life.
Yeah.
And I don't choose to follow a lot of experts because COVID's made me very untrusting of people. But a few experts, one is Stan Efforting. He talks the importance of 3 10-minute walks a day
Yeah.
for cardiovascular health.
Right.
CrossFit's part of that, right? At least warming up is like a 10-minute walk.
Right.
Yep.
Andrew Huberman, 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound that we weigh, non-negotiable.
Yeah.
That's what you do. If you do those 2 things, life is so much
Well, like you were even talking about this morning about protein and how that's so preventable and helpful healing with
Yeah.
injuries or preventing injuries. Protein's huge for that.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
we're not taught that.
Yeah.
The experts that we listen to are the wrong ones.
Right. Right. So, no, I know what makes me feel good, and following that is life-changing.
Yeah. And then that example that you're giving to your kids, I also think that's invaluable because
Well, we
just-
don't know everything, but it's nice
Yeah.
to like at least be doing something that we can help. Hey, we're kind of doing the same thing you are, not on a competitive level, but a fun trying to get strong level. And this is something that's really helped us. Why don't you try it too?
yeah.
I wish I had that as like doing athletic stuff in high school. Like I wish I would have had someone being like,
Oh, me too.
hey, go eat some protein.
Yep.
Okay. I didn't know.
Not to mention it opens up doors to see what you really can be good at. I mean, I was just talking to someone in CrossFit down there an hour ago, and they're like, I was a big runner growing up, and if I hadn't run, my daughter would have never ran. And because she ran, she ends up going and being this awesome collegiate runner. But had I kind of never set that example of moving or doing that, she would have never known her potential or found this joy or this hobby or
Right.
this thing that she ended up being really good at in her life.
Is that Kelsey?
It was.
Yeah.
Should bring her on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Her daughter is pretty awesome. She's posted a few things and I'm like, oh, wow. I had
They're
no idea.
they're cool
That's
people.
so cool.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's a really good example. And we were kind of talking about just why we do hard things. Daniel and I were talking about, Ironman or long bikes and things. And sometimes it's just to show your kids that you can do hard things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to run a marathon.
Yes, you do.
Just to say I did it. But I don't want to take away from my CrossFit. So I like have this weird, I'm like, if I just run long distance twice a week, get my marathon out of the way, say I did it, and never do it again.
Just walk. Just walk the marathon.
Still counts, right?
Yeah. Well, we can't all be Justin. I mean, Justin's first marathon, he like signed it up for a week, no training. He's like, I think I'll just go do a marathon next week. I think I'll just go do it. He
That's
did it
actually-
in like
That
top
was
5.
that was the second one. The first one I actually trained for and I did worse. I tried racing it and did worse. The second one I was like, I'm just gonna go relax and just have a good 26-mile run. And I ran and I just relaxed, right? And all of a
Right.
sudden it was like, hey, wow, I actually got a PR
Feel
on
good.
that one. But
Taylor, have you done a marathon? I can't remember.
Just a half.
Just a half.
And no desire to do a full. Well, I kind of did. I signed up for one and then I gave up and I didn't do
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. That's a whole.
do
You know that whole story.
you
We're
remember?
screwed on that stuff, by the way.
For real?
So
Yeah,
Sorry.
all that stuff we ordered on the cruise that was our credit.
Yeah.
It's not coming.
Why?
I don't know. So we were just out like 2,000.
Sounds
need
like
your
there
money
might
back.
be some room to
Yeah.
collect something depending on how aggressive you want to be.
The most I've ever heard in my life has been with Justin.
Climbing the Grand.
Yes.
So that was what the story
We were
I was
just
going to
talking
tell.
about that the other day.
Who was I telling this story the other day? It's like, CrossFit's great for a lot of things. And I remember hiking up the Grand and Tyler telling me how great CrossFit was. And then coming down, he's like, I'm questioning all my training methodology that I've ever had. And it was just, as he's like,
Justin throws you on his back. Let's go. Let's do this.
It was so
Yeah.
great. I'm questioning
Every
my training
corner,
methodology.
we would turn a corner. I'm like, this has to be.
This is gonna be the last one.
This has to be. And it's like the longest hike out ever.
Oh my gosh.
I went to sleep that night. I took an Ambien, and I went to sleep. Kira said I was moaning.
Wasn't it? I actually thought she said you were whimpering.
Yeah, whimpering. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I slept for like 14 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Well, what's funny, Tyler,
so
is
good.
you and I have both seen each other at our most miserable
Oh,
moments.
yeah.
Me after loaded jaw.
Yeah.
That was the most. That's the most miserable moment I've had. And
Tyler,
yeah,
can you come over? He's like not responding. Come
about where
save
it was
my
at.
husband.
Yeah.
It's nuts to me that you can push yourself that far. That's actually, Christine said that the other day about you too. Just how you have the mindset that you can just go and push and push and push. And that's a gift.
He has a mindset that he can do anything.
Which
He's like,
is
I can do
cool.
that. I can do that.
I mean, I guess that is kind of an audacious frame of mind, but it's kind of like, well, no, I'll do it, and then it's kind of back to
Do it
miracles.
till you die.
just kind of
Whatever.
wheel yourself there.
Yeah.
And or you just go down in flames like I did in Lodja.
Yeah.
Most ultra marathon runners at some point are like, I was just running off
Yeah.
of my
Hitting
mind.
a
Yeah,
wall.
like you're not running on your body anymore.
Right.
You're just
Right.
Yeah.
It
I
is
don't know.
wild.
I think it's really cool to stretch yourself like that, though. That's why I want to do it. I know I'll hate it. I know I'll hate every minute until like the next day. I'll be like, yesterday I ran a
maybe 2
marathon.
days later, but yeah. I'd sign up for one.
Yeah.
I'd do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
You
been on
run
my
fast
mind.
though. Like even if I trained, you'd still run fast.
I only have ever ran, the most I've ever ran is 13 miles ever. So every time I've done a half marathon, I'm like, and to do this again, that's insane.
Honestly, though, you just get to mile like 16, and you're kind of like,
Yeah, you just keep going,
Well,
whatever.
whatever.
I
And
would
it's a
go
lot,
with
but you
it
just
with
go.
no, like, just my goal would be to finish.
just finish it.
Yeah, I wouldn't go with any, because I don't want to be stressed about it. That's not
Yeah.
fun for me. I don't like being stressed about that. I'd go, as you always say, whenever I've signed up for a race, you're like, just go for a run tomorrow morning. It's not a big
Yep.
deal. Like, just
Well, that's what screwed me up on my first marathon. Was I was going with this like really aggressive mindset, and again, I didn't sleep well, and I got up and I was anxious, and then I tried running at a pace that I really couldn't run.
Yeah.
And the next time I just relaxed, and I was like, oh, I got to mile 20, and was like,
Cool.
let's do this.
That's fun.
I know how
Yeah.
to do a 10K.
Yeah.
And then I raced the last 6 miles. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. The worst, actually, I was thinking about it in my mind, though. I just want to say the worst I might have ever felt, though, was that day I came back from that training.
Oh my gosh.
I did a run early in the morning and then didn't get any nutrition in, and then went on a really hard bike.
Yeah.
And I came back.
Oh,
and
I was gonna say, I thought it was like a Blackfoot or Pocatello race you did that you about
that was
died.
That too. But I bonked. I bonked. I came
yeah.
back and it was just, I went into coach and I told the boys something, and then I just laid down in a corner, and just next thing I know, I woke up like an hour later and was like, whoa. Well,
He's a
good.
great
I'm
coach.
glad you guys are doing what you're supposed to be doing. Mind you, this is like Brigham's era.
I think
Yeah.
you must have had like an assistant there that probably took over. I hope. I don't
hope,
remember
because
but-
I all of a sudden I just blacked out and was just gone, and then kind of popped out of it and was like, oh,
I think you
wow.
called me. You're like, I need food.
Yeah, it was a bad one. But
Wife.
yeah,
Yeah.
right,
Need
right.
food.
I need food.
Oh,
Do
she's
your job.
She's way too good to me. Yeah. Part of the reason we eat as good as we do, the whole reason we eat as good as we do, is because of course. I think I've made like 10 meals in our marriage.
Yeah, you only make pancakes
really good at
and
pancakes.
eggs. That's about it. But no, Tyler, why don't you sign up? Why don't we, all three of us and Kira? I think if I signed up, I think Kira could sign up for a marathon.
She
too.
might.
I think she
don't
would.
know.
I think she would. I mean, not
We
right
also
now
make great
during Ice Palace
cheerleaders.
season. Like, she's not, like, no.
You don't need
Too
one
much
more
going
thing
on.
to stress you out.
Yeah, but I think if, like, I convinced her to do something like this summer, I think she would say yes.
Britton and Krista are doing a Spartan.
Oh, cool.
I actually really want to do a Spartan.
Yeah.
That's one of the races I haven't done.
Yeah,
Actually
I
think
want to do
it'd
that
be
too.
fun, too.
I want to do that too.
So tell us
So-
which one.
I mean, so technically you could get your marathon in a
At
Spartan.
a Spartan, they do a
Wow.
marathon.
That'll take
distance,
like
don't
8
they?
hours.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
Wow.
But
Okay.
Then it's like
That's way
knocking
more
2 out in
fun.
one.
Yeah. Could you count that as a marathon though? I don't know. If
You run
can count
26
that.
miles.
Okay. 0.2.
I don't know.
You can run around the parking lot if you're worried about it.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
yeah,
that would be
we'll
super
look into
fun.
it.
We should look into that.
But that shouldn't be the fun thing that we do this summer.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, we got to go see the world,
Yeah.
right?
So maybe this is something we don't need to discuss on a podcast. But I actually think it'd be really cool to fly down to Mexico City, do 3 days in the city where we're looking at pyramids and the culture down there. Definitely go to a gold museum. I know you love that.
Gold coins.
I'll
Yeah,
sleep.
coins, yeah.
I'll take a nap
Yeah.
while you guys go do that.
And then get a regional flight over to like Cabo or something like that.
Okay.
And do another 3 days.
Yes.
So, or maybe 4 and 3 or whatever. So make it a week. You get the pyramids and the cool archaeology, and then you go over and have 3 days of a beach.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
So you get the adventure with a little bit of just
Yeah.
R&R, just a little bit of relaxation.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, I've never done the Mexico thing except for on a cruise. So,
And it's so different.
yeah.
Like, Mexico City is one of the best places on earth.
I don't know. Is it like Costa Rica? Remember that day in Costa Rica
Okay,
was
you're-
terrifying. That
Oh, no. Well, no, the whole thing is like that.
Why is there pee all over the ground? What is this? Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah, that was pretty gross. We were in probably one of the most ghetto spots.
We were.
But
But it seemed pretty authentic.
It's dark. You
Yeah.
guys need to go home. We want waffles. No, you guys need to go home.
I don't remember someone telling us that.
Some locals were like, nah, no, at dark, go home.
Well, didn't we ask for directions, and then they were like, ask for money? Like,
Really?
I don't remember. Do you
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah,
They're like looking
something
for.
like that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah, what was that first
Oh, the
place that we went,
adventure.
though? That
it was like a
waffles or-
chocolate,
chocolate.
place, wasn't it? Cocoa place.
The
Cacao.
waffle place? What are you talking about?
I don't remember. There was a
We
little
might-
shop, a
I
little
think
like.
we might be talking about the same place.
Yeah. Okay.
It was like we went to the hotel and then
Yes.
we walked down.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like little
just a little hole,
Okay.
yeah, a little hole in
Yeah.
the wall, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Though.
But I remember Kira had seen this Waffle House, and the whole trip was like, I really want to go. And so like the last night we tried to go find it, and someone was like, you just need to go home. Because it was getting to be kind of dusk, and it was like,
Let's see. That was
go back to your hotel.
in San Jose.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mexico City doesn't have to be dangerous. Like we don't go to the dangerous parts.
Yeah. You have a good feel for what's dangerous or not. Also on that trip, we were walking around town, and you're like, "We got to make it back before dark." We didn't want to cut through that village. You're like, "No, we're gonna go the long way around." I'm like, "Why?" No, we're not going through the village.
Because I want to have a podcast in 3 days.
I was just going, "Oh, yeah, let's just go back the way we came." But good thing you were there to be like, "No, you don't."
That was fun.
Thanks for saving.
I think this is a couple years out, but I really want to go to Jerusalem.
Yeah, I would love that.
I really want to go over there and just spend a week to 10 days and
Yep.
just get a sense of.
With a really good tour guide.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Just a very
Right.
biblical tour guide.
Yeah, yep. I think
That's
actually
what we
I would
missed in
love to.
Tulum. I wanted a good tour guide, and we didn't get that.
Yeah.
That was such a bummer.
Several of my cousins have gone to BYU Jerusalem
Mm-hmm.
and just really know and kind of understand the area, and I think they could convince one of them to go along. They loved
Right,
it.
that's
And
true.
they said it was just really amazing.
I think that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a bit of a trip.
Lots of fun things. Lots of good things in life.
Isn't that what's amazing though? Is we could travel every summer and go and explore and wouldn't even
Still not
We wouldn't
see
even.
it all.
Wouldn't even.
That's what's hard to go back to the same places though.
Yeah.
Right? Is because
Yeah.
you're like, oh, but I mean, you've been in Nicaragua and several other places that we haven't, and it's like, but what's around the next corner?
Yeah, but I'd still,
Peru.
I'd still go back. Yeah, let's do Peru.
Yeah.
We need to do it all. It's just. So we
like
our goal
traveling,
needs
you
to be
guys.
to have more time and more money.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, cool.
Oh, that's great. Traveling's fun.
I agree. Well, I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
awesome.
it's fun. It's always fun to chat.
Fun to chat and just get your perspective and learn.
Yeah.
So
We love it. Thanks for
love
having
to
us.
Hear
Yeah.
your history and
Thanks, Tyler.
yeah. If you guys ever need anything, let us know. I mean, I always ask this to people, and I don't know if you even care, but like, how can people find you? Mostly
We
Gymnastics
try
Center.
to stay hidden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Madison Gymnastics Center in Rexburg.
Yeah.
AA1 Jetstream Drive and now 887.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
But no, we're always enrolling, and I think again, it's not a hard. I feel like gymnastics is just like swimming; it's a lifetime skill.
Yeah.
And so, if you want your kids to be, strong, well-equipped kids, it's like you'll say, jujitsu, gymnastics, CrossFit.
It's so good.
It's just
for
another
kids.
avenue.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it's been so good for our kids, and some of the best coaches that we've ever met are, well, you, and and coaches there at the gym.
Yeah, we've got such great staff. We're so lucky.
Very, very blessed.
It's awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler.
Have a good day.